Hello there. Thanks for joining us on this short webinar for 3 rules for good internet communication. It's just simple things that you might want to think about when you're doing your next webinar, or indeed if you decide to start doing webinars. And these are just a few tips that help you to focus and actually get your message, your communication, your training across efficiently. First of all, engage with your audience. So actually get some engagement with them. How do you do this? First of all, content. Make sure it is relevant to them. So communicate to your audience who this communication, who this training session, what this is all about, and who it's intended for. Make sure the information you give is either directly impacting them, indirectly impacting them, or is something that is useful for them to know to help them to carry out what tasks they need to do. So it's the relevance. There's no point getting people on board to find out about things they have absolutely no interest in and will have no bearing on what they do. So make sure it's relevant to the audience. The next thing is deliver using a webinar system that gives a true being there experience. So make it feel like they're actually speaking to the person one-to-one, like I hope you're kind of feeling with this presentation here. Make sure they feel a part of it and actually give them everything they might get if they're actually in a room, in a presentation in person. What this should mean is that they can see you clearly and hear you clearly. They should be able to see an accompanying slide presentation, so for backup they can actually see slides and things like that, or if it wanders off they actually know what the topic's being covered. Give them some collateral to take away. You often are expected to get some collateral, so give them a handout, a sheet of aid memoir, some things to remember, a brochure, whatever it might be. Give them some collateral to take away to actually help them remember things. Also, give them the ability to ask questions or give feedback. So by doing that, again, it gives a true being the experience, which then helps to keep them interested and involved in the actual webinar. 2. Present clearly and give your audience time to reflect and understand. So what does this mean? Well, first of all, obviously, present clearly. Make your points very obvious, back it up with the slides, and let them understand what it means. One very good thing to do is present using rule of threes. What is the rule of threes? Well, actually, many great presenters, orators, for hundreds and hundreds of years have been using this method to do presentations. Essentially, it's saying focus your thoughts, focus your communication down into 3 key points. Explain them out after that if need be, but focus on 3 key points. A very simple analogy is if you're doing some golf lessons, say. I don't know if any of you do this, but if you're learning to play golf, there's probably about 15 or 20 different things you should be doing. Hold it this way, this thumb, that knee, this elbow, that head, this neck, that crouch, etc., etc. So many different things to remember, but most good teachers and most of the pupils acknowledge it. What they do is they focus on 3 key things to remember. You cannot remember 15 things or 10 or 7 things you need to do for a simple golf swing. So what you have to do instead is focus on 3 key things, get those correct. Later on you do other things once the first 3 things are done. That's all our minds have the ability to focus on clearly and understand. So present using the rule of threes. Make 3 key points, focus around those kind of areas. You will find, as I say, in history, and all the great presenters today use this system. Use mixed media so it can absorb information in different ways. Our webinar system presents information in lots of different ways. You've got video and audio, you've got the slides there, there's also the download system, there's question and answers. So there's different ways to present the same information so that if they're hearing you and saying, oh, I didn't quite understand what you were saying there, they can look at the slide and say, oh, that's what they meant, or vice versa. So they can actually have different ways of inputting the information. I'm sure you've heard about auditory learning or visual learning. So again, all this mixed media helps all the different forms of learning and helps that information, communication, training get across more clearly. Also give your audience the ability to review and reflect. So it's important sometimes, particularly for a complex topic or something that's a little bit difficult to get hold of, that you give people time to think about it, understand it, and think how it might affect them, or think how they might use it, or think how they might understand that subject area. What this means is we need to give them a system that allows them to have this ability. So, for example, what they could do is go through a presentation, go through a bit of training, stop halfway, pause the system, and actually think, right, I better just work that out. I'll write notes on that, see if I understand it properly before I go on to anything else. Alternatively, it could mean they actually stop halfway through and say, right, that's enough, I'm going to sleep on it, I'll wake up tomorrow morning nice and fresh, return to it, see what my thoughts are then. Again, our webinar system allows you to jump around, so you can actually jump around and say, okay, take me to the middle slide and I'll continue from that point now. So again, the ability to review and reflect is a great way to get that communication across. Point 3, interaction. If you're in a room, there's a presenter or lecturer and a group full of people there, you would have interaction with them. So why would you expect to use a webinar system that doesn't have this kind of functionality? You need to be able to allow audiences to ask questions. Audiences are normal people. They might say, oh, hang on, what about this? What about that? Have you considered this? It's important that they have the ability to ask questions, and our system allows this. Also, you have the ability to ask the audience questions. So again, you can ask them for feedback, say, how's this, what's this happening, etc. You can also set up multiple choice questions. So multiple choice questions, it could be actual questions about a piece of training. It could be a voting motion. You could say, we're not sure whether to produce this in green, red or blue. Please select your preferred colour or the colour you think will be most successful, and we'll see what everybody says to make that decision. So it's a very powerful way of getting that feedback, getting people involved, and really helping and engaging in that communication. So in summary, 3 rules for good communication, particularly online and with webinars, is engage your audience, make it relevant, make them feel part of it, give them a great experience with high quality materials. 2, give them the ability to reflect, to think about, to understand the topics that you're trying to get across to them. Number 3, give them the ability to interact with you, to take handouts, to ask questions, to be asked questions, so that they really feel part of it. Follow these things, and I assure you, your presentations will transfer across much more effectively. Now, this has been using the SAOF platform system for delivering webinars and training. If you'd like to find out more, do give us a call. All our contact details are up on the slide there. They're also on the website and things like that. We'd love to hear from you. If you'd like to find out more about our thoughts, more about experiences, more about the system, give us a call. We look forward to hearing from you. Many thanks then. Bye for now.